Alright guys, I'm going to give you 10 ways on how you can make money from your landscape photography. But before we get started, just a bit of a background. I've sold my landscape photography for over 20 years. I've self-published 5 books. I've done postcards, greeting cards, calendars, bookmarks. I've owned my own galleries. I own my own stock website and I do this full time. And it's been really one hell of a ride. And I'm going to share with you these 10 ways on how to sell your work and also your skills. But at the same time, I'm going to give you real world advice based on my own experience. But before we get started, just one thing. Okay, so if we're going to talk business, first we need to look the part. So first things first, number one is you need to create a website, and not just any website, one that converts. Your website is your online gallery to the world, and selling online isn't easy as competition is really high. So you need a good website that's really going to stand out. When building a website, you've got to forget about flashy online animations and loading screens. Just make it really clean and simple and easy to navigate. Like they say, always build your website for the dumbest user. I know it sounds harsh, but you need to remember you're building a website for a customer and not for you. Make it easy for people to find what they're looking for. Have really good, clear image titles, image codes for reference, easy to find pricing, shipping information, tell people about the approximate turnaround times when they order a product, the quality of your images and the quality of the final product they're going to get. And also when you're offering framed photos, always include in there the final finished dimensions of the frames. That's really helpful as well. Ask yourself, does your checkout look secure and legitimate? Can someone trust entering their credit card information into your website? Is your website HTTPS? Do you offer common payment methods like MasterCard, PayPal, Afterpay, that kind of thing? Do they get sent an automatic order confirmation and invoice? Having this set up will really save you a lot of time with them emailing saying, hey, I never got a receipt of my purchase, or what's my reference number for my order? Another really big one for your website that I really don't see many people talking about, and that is actually adding proof that you actually sell your work. And even if you don't, have people already walked down this road before them. Even if you have to basically fake it until you make it. So if that's the case for you, just find some photos of your own work that you've got printed up and put in your house. Or if you've given your photos as a gift to friends or family, take photos of that and put it on your website. Make a customer believe that spending $500 or $1,000 on your website is safe and that people have been before them. I'll leave a link to my website in the description below so you can actually see how I've implemented this on my website. With selling online, it's one thing to have photos for sale, but ask yourself, are these shots that people actually want to buy? And in my experience, the answer is always yes. Even your not so great photos will sell. So don't just have photos of crazy skies. For me, crazy sky images are what actually sells the least. Sure, they're fun to take, but you've got to have the mindset that you're not shooting for yourself anymore. You're shooting to sell. People want a variety to choose from. Colors that match their house decor. Reds, pinks, purples, blues, grays. Photos that invoke a memory for them where they used to live. Propose to their partner, where they used to walk with their nana. So they're not overly interested in a photo being absolutely super amazing. Sure, it has to be nice, but most times I see a customer buy a photo on my website and I think, why did you buy that shot when this one is so much better? But that's the reason why. That image was actually personal to them for a reason. So next is selling calendars, postcards and greeting cards, and they're a really good money spinner if done right. If you're wanting to sell them in a retail shop, they will want a barcode on the product. And you can buy these online like eBay. They sell them in packs of like 5 or 10 and you just get a digital file. Or a business may want a point of sales rack for them to go on, which again is another expense. So if you're selling greeting cards or postcards, this might be an obstacle that you're going to face. When selling these kinds of things outside your website or markets, keep in mind the time it's going to take to maintain stock. And I personally found this a really big issue to try and keep up with. And eventually I had to let it go for that exact reason, as the time to maintain these racks was just really killing me. Also, another obstacle I found was trying to get them into major locations, especially places like post offices. Especially when I approached them, they said, look, Matt, we love these cards. They look great. We would sell heaps of them. We get heaps of requests for local cards. But because I had a large commercial card company already in the store, they actually signed a non-competition agreement. So they actually weren't allowed to even do that. So it was really disappointing to hear, but this is a really key consideration to keep in mind if you want to approach these kinds of businesses. So do your homework if you're looking to do this kind of thing, and think about the logistics and who can and will actually carry these products for you. Next is self-publishing a book. I've self-published 5 books now. There's 4 here. One's actually not actually in print anymore, and they're really good, and they're a very nice low price gift and entry item for people to buy from you. They sell really well at markets or retail environments as people can physically see the product. But if you're selling online, I actually have a YouTube channel where it's just for my business, and I actually have a page flick through of each one of these books so people can actually see what's in the book and what they're buying. One thing though with publishing, especially a book, is to always triple check your text and then get someone who's not close to your project to proof it for you as well, as they're going to look at it with fresh eyes. Unfortunately, I've seen really a lot of photographers who self-publish a book later talk about the spelling or grammar errors in there, and the main reason is that they're the only ones that have actually read through and actually checked it. When you design your book, make sure you get an ISBN number, which is the International Book Standard Number, and it's a barcode. Like the barcode said, it's an international reference number for your book, and when you get it, you just put it on the back like this. And it's really important to get. And when you publish your book, you will get a department that will ask you for a copy, just so it's actually on their registry, just as a reference. Like with greeting cards, calendars, and especially books, when you get your printing quote, you'll see them say the minimum order is $1,000 and will cost you, say, $5 a book. But if you buy 2,000, you'll get it at $3 a book, and you're going to think, oh wow, look at the savings I can make. But just be really careful, as you got no idea yet if you can actually move 1,000 books, let alone 2,000 of them. So my advice is to get the first 1,000, and then once they sell, then reorder and get 2,000 or more, because you actually can now show to yourself that the first 1,000 will sell. And this is really important, especially if you have any errors in the book, you can then go back and correct and change them later on a reprint. So the next one is stock images. And as a landscape photographer, you can always be kind of tunnel visioned on getting that classic shot that you want for your website, but you're already out shooting. So think of stock images as well, and not just the big vista kind of shots. Look for images in your scene that would make a great stock photo. And this is really something that I wish I did from the start, but I always do it now because I actually own my own stock website, and I put all the stock shots on there that I take, and also the shots that kind of don't make the cut for my main website. Like the ones where the sky is really nice, but the sky 10 minutes before or 10 minutes after, just as good. But these are the kind of ones where you just don't leave them sitting on your memory card. Put them to work as a stock image. So the next one is selling your work at markets or do casual leasing in a major shopping center. And it's a really great way to get started. I've done both and they've always been really profitable, or at the very worst, you always make your money back. But if you're doing casual leasing, always find a place where people go to actually shop. Don't choose your local shopping center where most people are destination visitors, because I've done this before. I only did it once, and my only sales were to like a couple of workmates that come by, and I kind of think they bought from me because I said, look, I haven't made any sales today. Because people in these shops, they're basically going straight in to get their bread or milk, post something off, and then they go straight home. Find a place where people go and they end up walking around and they go home with a t-shirt, a dress, or your photo, but they had actually no intention to buy any of those things. They just went to the shops to walk around and have a look. You will pay more for these kinds of places, but at the end of the day, you'll actually sell more as well. When selling in these places, you will get that really good instant feedback from people on why they bought that photo that you don't really get with online selling, as a lot of the time when you're actually selling face-to-face to people, they will like to tell you why they chose that image, and it'll give you a really good idea on what to shoot more of, or to refocus your thoughts on why you don't really need to chase that crazy light all the time. With selling in places like this, it's really important to have things like merchant facilities. Asking people to hit the ATM to pay cash will hurt your sales, because quite often when you do ask that, they'll walk away and then their sort of love and interest and excitement will sort of taper off really quickly, and quite often they may not come back at all. So if this is for you, I would actually talk to your casual leasing manager about doing a trial on just like a weekend, just to see how you go. They will try and get you to commit to a week or more, but always manage your financial investment. You will pay more just doing a weekend, but again, you just need to test the water first. Next is to approach a business that will sell your work on consignment. Like a picture framer is really perfect for landscape photographers. Ask them if you can supply a printed photo for them to frame that they can later sell in their shop, and on sale, you'll get a print fee. So they don't actually have to physically outlay any kind of money straight up, and that's going to be really appealing to them. But also with this method, you're also getting them to invest in the idea with framing the photo, and they're going to be more motivated to sell it. Or if you actually gave them a printed photo that's already framed, then aside from it actually being in their shop, they don't really have any skin in the game. Also, offer them small matted prints that they can frame quickly for a customer that's actually in their shop. They can have blanks made up that fit your photos, and framers will always have leftover frame from jobs, and your small prints that use up that frame will be really appealing to them. So that's 6 of the 10 ways to make money and considerations on actually how to do it. If you think this has really been useful to you guys, it would be really good if you could hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. So with that being said, let's get on to number 7. So the next is to offer consignment sales. Quite often a customer will want a nice photo of their actual view, like from their balcony. So when doing this, it's really important to set their expectations. They're probably going to think that when you go there, they're going to get a really nice red sunrise like in your other shots. But let them know that you'll get a nice shot of their view, but it's always within reason. Like you're not going to go there and shoot on an overcast, rainy day so the photo looks really flat and really unattractive. So the next one is to do commercial shooting. And as a landscape photographer, you have a really wide skill set, and commercial photography is one of them that works perfectly with this. And I've done shoots for the National Parks and Wildlife here in Australia, Lonely Planet, local councils and high-end commercial real estates, where one time they popped me in a cherry picker and I was shooting virtual reality views of units that actually haven't even been built yet. And it was really interesting. And I actually got that gig from selling in shopping centres and speaking to a commercial real estate guy who was out just walking around shopping with his family. So offer these kind of services on your website, and they will want to know what kind of your day rate is, and price yourself initially to get the work, but just be prepared to lose jobs, as sometimes you're going to be competing with other people who have a lower rate than you. Also quote your work with what you're happy to do it for and the price you're happy to actually lose the job at as well. Because unfortunately, no matter how big the company is, most of the time they're going to go for the lowest bidder, as they've already chosen probably 2 or 3 other people that you're competing with. So they've already culled down their selection and they're going to be happier to go with one or the other. I recently lost an aerial shoot due to this. I gave them examples of my work, showed them my drone images, the super high res, and when I lost the job, I asked why, and they said someone was just basically a lower price than you. It was 2 days work with drone images and also some ground shots as well. I priced it out at $2,000. I could have said $1,500, but I priced my work to what I offer, and I've also have to be content that I lost it on probably a few $100s, and it just happens. I just can't go around beat myself up with maybe saying I should have offered maybe $1,800 for the job. Another one is to offer face-to-face courses, either one-on-one or as a group. At my peak, I used to turn over around $60,000 a year on offering courses like this. It was a lot of work. Once I did 10 8-hour private courses in 14 days, at the end of those 14 days, I was absolutely burnt out and ruined. If you have images, people want to take themselves, and this is a really great way to get income, as you get to show them how you do it, and at the same time, you get to shoot alongside them as you show them your process and your workflow. And while you're doing that, you're also building up your own portfolio as well. Obviously, you taking photos on a course is a really distant second, but I find participants do like to see you shoot alongside them, because then they see how you're actually doing it. And as you're shooting images, you're explaining to them live your process, and you can point things out to them that you may not have really pointed out to them if you actually weren't shooting yourself. So my last one is also on courses, but this time is to think about making an online or downloadable course. When I ran my courses, I just serviced a smaller sort of area that was basically an hour's drive from me, as that was really manageable at the time as I had a young family. But with an online course, you can have customers anywhere in the world undertake it. It is a lot of work to get set up and running, but once you do, it's really easy to maintain and you always have it available. And as I said, you can have people join your course at any time, anywhere in the world. Also, offering courses online as part of your face-to-face course is a really nice sweetener, because if you've got a course that's online that's worth $200 and they're spending $500 to spend a day with you for a one-on-one course, then they're going to add up that value and think, you know what, I'm actually only paying $300 for this one-on-one course because I'm getting this free $200 online course with it. With online courses though, just be mindful of the hosting of the course. Platforms like Kajabi are really good, but they're very expensive to keep live. Other platforms like Teachable is a really good place to start, especially for a lower entry price. I just recently recorded and launched my first online photography course on how to master digital panoramic photography. And I'm also recording some other ones as well. And they're also hosted on Kajabi, but it costs me $150 a month. But that also means that if I decide like I don't want to use Kajabi anymore, as soon as you end that subscription service, then basically that whole backlog of what you've got online is gone, and you'll have to move everything from something like Kajabi onto Teachable. So just keep that in mind if you're actually going for like a Kajabi platform, that once your subscription ends, so does everything else. So as you can see, there are lots of ways to diversify your income as a photographer, especially a landscape photographer. Some of these things are more expensive than others to undertake, but like with anything though, you really have to give it a go, and you can't put a price on the experience and what you're going to learn as a result of doing this. But if I could give you one really key piece of advice, is to manage your financial risk and don't get in over your head, and just realize that your return on investment might just take a while to be seen when you undertake things like with publishing especially. If you're interested in a one-on-one photography business coaching session with me on any of these topics and more, I'll leave a link to my training website in the description below so you can book one. Also, here are 2 other really good videos for you to watch. And as always guys, thanks for watching. And I hope you got a lot out of this video that you can consider for your next step in taking your journey further with making money from your photography. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.